Hello and welcome, my lovely listeners and my viewers. Since I am now also started to record those videos, and that was my challenge, and that was my coming out of my comfort zone to record those. And I'm happy I am doing this now when just before the 2026 coming up on us. 2026 is a year of numerology of one. So, one obviously starting beginnings, and that's why I am starting this now. So, just doing something else that I didn't think I was ready to do, didn't think I was good enough to do, and I thought it's gonna take me a long time until I will be ready. And then one day I just sat down and started recording actually for something else, but for my coaching qualification, I had to provide this um, submission of this some sort of portfolio, and then I thought was going to be a good practice. And when I looked at the portfolio and what I recorded and what I was talking about, I actually quite liked it. So I thought, why not? So this is all there is just me, and apologies, there's barking dog in the background. So this is as raw and as authentic or as it can be. I hope in the future I'll get all the equipment and everything else that is just going to be so professional and just like business like. But at the moment, it's very raw as me, as I'm going to probably be recording from different places. I like and tend to travel a lot, and I have got few friends with sort of different houses and different settings. And I thought just today I will talk about how I started what I'm doing now and how it became my calling. And so my story is that I was in a very intense relationship, as you do, and started off when I was in my 30s, and I just fell very hard for someone. It was one of those love affairs when you kind of go into it with your whole 100% self. And when I was going through this, I really felt like I was on seventh cloud. Like I've never experienced anything like that before. And after kind of lots of turbulences and things on the way, I ended up being with this person. So I believe that my manifestation, because I really manifested this person, I kept manifesting this person. I ended up with him, and then I spent some time with him, and it was quite significant for my own development. I came from religious background, meaning that I used to go to church. This Catholic background, used to go to church quite a lot. Quite a lot, just Sundays, and the belief in God and the Catholic faith was quite strong in me and kind of guided me through life. So I was always spiritual, and I was always in touch with my soul side, with my soul. I tend to always see a second level, a second or a third or a fourth kind of levels to reality. I always loved kids, and for me, kids are very much in touch with the different realm. For example, I always loved animals. Um, I always was sensitive and empathetic, and very easily, very emotional. Things that kind of before, things that people obviously noticed, things that I wish sometimes that I wasn't so emotional or so deep or so sensitive, because it's not the easiest thing to live with when you are like that. And you might sometimes get used by people, or when people see that, They can take it in a wrong way. So I was kind of always in and out. I also have my strong side, and I am very decisive in some things and stubborn. So I just wonder, yeah, how. So meaning that someone might be empathetic and love kids and love animals and be very sensitive, doesn't mean straight away that they are, super spiritual and esoteric and believes in all the woo-woo stuff out there and crystals and stuff. So actually the person that I was put in, that I really wanted to end up with, hold this mirror up to me because he was on the other spectrum. So I was quite, although I was spiritual and religious, I was quite rigid in that. So I had my borders around it, and I wouldn't step out, and I wouldn't necessarily go into any energy healing, or like things like Reiki, things like crystals, things like conspiracy theories, things like UFO and lucid dreamings, and all this realm of spirituality that is so so broad. I was kind of in my trajectory of religion. This is God, this is sin, this is spirituality, but uh, spirituality that's understood very kind of linear. And I had my own apologies for the dog, it's just an additional sound. Shush. Rufus, come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. No. No more. And I won't be cutting this off, so sorry. Shush. Um, so continue with my story. He was very much like that. So he was into a lot of conspiracy theories and was very open for all the information that's out there on the internet that you can find, um, to do with UFO, to do with some people who used to work on different planets, lucid dreamings, things like, going to war when you are dreaming, things like, I don't even remember. There was just a lot. So this was my first. This was the thing when this was something that I was faced with, and I found it fascinating. But I also was like, hard no, I couldn't believe that. I was really opposing, and we had lots of discussions, and I was listening to this. I was kind of drawn to this, but in the same time, I was like, this is just too much. Like, this is weird. This is funny. This is like, I don't want to believe in that. It's not even that I believe in that fully now. It's like going into these things is like going into a rabbit hole, and I know you don't want to open yourself spiritually to all of those things if you don't know what you are dealing with. But in the same time, you have to be aware. It's just part of the awareness, and I was really I was really negating that, to the point sometimes that I was angry that he was mentioning that, or things that he was researching. It was just like too much. And in terms of, I don't want to like mention that he this and that. For me, it was a very developmental relationship. I grew up so much because of that, and especially after I came out of this relationship. This relationship ended, and quite quite painfully for me. So this relationship ended, and then I went into my own way, because soon after the relationship ended, I there was COVID and there was lockdown, and sort of when I was by myself and kind of doing all the things that you have to do after relationship ends, so finding new flat, moving, finding yourself in another environment, dealing with the post breakup things and sadness and the dark night of the soul, like who you are without this love, because you're not only losing a person and the home and where you used to be, you're losing part of yourself that was connected to this relationship. You have to become a new person. So and also you go through all the stages of grief. So the fact that first you don't believe what happened, and then you are angry, and then you are sad, and going back and forth between those stages. I also sought some psychological treatment, or I was speaking to the psychologist I thought I needed, after, not only because of the relationship, but because I was in a stage of my life when I had to reevaluate. So every time something happens, doesn't have to be end of relationship, but anything sort of tragic, sad, sudden, even though the ending wasn't sudden because it didn't just happen, it was collapsing already, kind of from the middle of this relationship. So halfway through the relationship, I was just basically kidding myself, and I was very unhappy because my body felt that this relationship is not going anywhere. But nevertheless, I stayed, or the relationship lasted as long as it had to last. And actually, I was always quite nice and gullible in the relationship, and kind of wanting for the relationship to go easily with no arguments. Obviously, when I was moody sometimes, or I was telling this person off for some things that he would do, or I was cross, but usually that was still kind of a nice approach from me. So then one morning when we were sitting down, and this person was kind of telling me off all the things that I was doing wrong, pretty much. I kind of uncontrollably, so I didn't control that, almost a scream came out of me. I screamed, and that was it, and that was kind of the end of the relationship. I didn't even realize that, I didn't even plan to scream. It just came out. I screamed, basically, stop it. That was my scream, and then that was the end of the relationship, basically. But I didn't even want to talk that much about this. There was this, so this was just a start of me then, of my development, of me becoming a different person. Although I am not a different person, it's just I was awakened, the parts of me that was kind of asleep, but all those things had to happen for those parts of me to get awakened. So yeah, I had to move out and everything. I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you have been through things like this, when everything collapses and you kind of have to rebuild it. So somehow, automatically, with all this building up myself and rebuilding my life in a way, I also had to change my spiritual side, because my old spiritual side didn't or wasn't on the level where I was, because it was so disjointed. The life of like a happy, I don't know, housewife, a happy couple who is just enjoying holidays and working and da da da, and doing a little bit of spiritual things and doing fashion and things like this, wasn't really working. And by the way, I still feel that I am not where I am. Well, I am not there yet, so that's not the end of the development after 6 or whatever, how many years. So I started looking on how to, what's out there for me. And we are really lucky. We have access to internet, we have access to all the information, and first, and all the people who are also looking, who are also on their developmental journey. So first, I think one of the first people was actually Aaron Doughty that I came across, and something in him resonated, even though he is so much younger, and his journey is so much different and is in different continents. Something in him just resonated, and I think well, anyway, I'm not gonna make any more comments. So something in him just resonated, and I listened to him. I think his authenticity, his warmth, how he presented himself, that he was really open but also vulnerable. So there was something in him that really resonated. So I found him, and he was talking in the beginning a lot about UFO, about manifesting, about awareness, just your kind of spiritual side, your soul side, that in a way in me was half asleep, half neglected, half rejected. It was there. I could see this part, but just it wasn't functioning as, and it wasn't giving me the inside fire that it was supposed to, that it's built to give. So I stumbled across Aaron and all the other people. I actually had a little bit of this insight because of this person, obviously, but I rejected all of that. And then I was slowly kind of remembering and coming back to things that he was also always mentioning. Things like crystals, things like Reiki, like healing, and things like this. And I also was working corporate job at that time, obviously 9 to 5 job in the office every day. And I started thinking, I cannot do, something has to happen. Like I cannot do that anymore. But I couldn't. I was a single mom. I couldn't really think of anything else. How can I just? I cannot go to the office every day. That's just, I cannot do that. What shall I do? What needs to happen for me to not go to the office? Like I think we had one day working from home, and I enjoyed it so much, and I still could do my work, but just the office environment, the office politics, the everyday commute, it just wasn't for me. I'm just not someone who can go to the office every day. And then lo and behold, lockdown happens. Basically, I didn't have to go to office anymore. So that's all I say about this subject. So I was just working from home, you know, happy with this arrangement. Obviously, then other things happened. Then there had to be some adjustment done. So I wasn't earning as much because of certain setups, but it was still fine for me, because then other things happened that kind of brought me some money that I could leave off and things like this. But and then I started doing sound meditations, because the rooftop, the Pandora box, or a positive Pandora box, just opened so much during lockdown. Everyone were doing things, spiritual things online. Everything was open. There was yoga, there was breath work, there was sound baths, and everything was accessible through the click. And everything was also discounted, because obviously virtually you didn't have to pay for the venue and anything like this. You didn't have to travel. For me personally, I don't mind working virtually. I am very good at listening and getting the energy and talking and speaking, probably because I am the Gemini. So the information flow, it does not bother me that this is virtual. Like it does not impact me. And it's, I can see someone's face, and I can read the energy, and I can hear the sounds, and I can feel what's happening. Obviously the element of not the really intense element, that this is not the actual body. I cannot be in a close proximity. But I sometimes think that when you are an empath, when you feel other people so intensely, actually sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes not being in a close proximity every time, for people like this, highly sensitive or sensitive, I don't know if I'm highly sensitive, it's good, because they don't have to process this all, for like very intensely. So it might be that that's the case, and I am not advocating for everything to always happen virtually. Actually, I was in the sound bath yesterday, and it was in person, and it's the same. The other week, I was on a breath work class, and it was so intense. So obviously it's good when there is a balance, and it's good when there is a mixture of that. So internet opened up with all those opportunities, and then like a cherry on top, or the final point for me on the universe giving me a sign, I went for a walk with a friend, and obviously there was lockdown. So what people did during lockdown, they were clearing up their houses, the, getting rid of stuff, just making a clearance. And I was walking down in this central part of London, next to a park. Obviously, not many people, because not many people were going out then, but it was around lunchtime, or something like this. And outside of this door, on our way to the park, there's loads of books, and just so it happens, all those books were about spiritual healing, spiritual knowledge. There was book called Conversations with God, I think part 1 and 2. There was loads of books from what's it publication? I think it's called Hey. But it's a spiritual publication that lots of spiritual authors are publicizing their books. So a lot of things. Louise Hay, that's the publication. So Louise Hay is this spiritual esoteric author that had lots of books published, and now she's got publicity business that produces books. Sorry, lost my words there. But basically, yes, Louise Hay. So lots of books from her. So I looked at this. It was like a bank of books for free, and the universe saying, "Here you go. You ask for this. There it is." So I grabbed all the books, and I employed my friend to also grab as many. He looked at me like this, because these books, they are just not like your mainstream whatever drama. They were like how to heal yourself and things like this, and some of them were just kind of too woo for me. Now I'm just wondering, because I didn't even take all of those. I took as many as I could understand. Maybe the ones from like a higher level I didn't take. Maybe I wasn't ready for them. But I've taken all these books, and I was devouring them, and I was like reading them like, oh my God, the one about the healing, the self-healing, when you kind of heal yourself, and you touch different parts of your body, and then you kind of uh, say different things or imagine different things for healing, for internal healing, from your hair to your gums, to your skin, to your kidneys, to your uterus, to your blood, everything. Louise Hay has got one of those books, so I was doing all of that. This was just, that was a sign for me. So, and since then, I really love. The other kind of next step on that was that I would go to charity shop, which is like second hand bookstores in UK, and I would go into the shelf with spiritual books, and I would pick up all the books that were there. And also, what's beautiful about those books is that there's very often a message on the first page of the book. And the message is like very personal. So someone has received the book, maybe wasn't ready, maybe read it and then wanted to pass it on. Very often those books sadly are like new, so people are not ready. So if you are on your path, kind of healing or spiritual journey, discovery, and you are like, wow, you are amazed, and you want to then invite other people, invite your friends maybe to also go on this journey, but they are not ready. If you give them the book, if you give them something, if they're not ready, they're not going to welcome it. They're not going to understand it. So that's that. And now very often since then, I actually go to the second-hand bookstores and get those books. I get them now more and more also from just not used, because I had a phase in my life when I used to get lots of second-hand things. And now I kind of try to balance, because I also feel that secondhand things, they are amazing, and always will get them. They come with a lot of previous energy as well. So at some point in my house, I had it filled with everything, probably was one way or another sort of secondhand. And I felt like the energy is a bit skewed. Like some things just have to be new for me to feel it in with my energy. But yes, that's my spiritual journey, and yeah, it started with someone that I well, when I say it started with someone, it was already in me. I don't want to say if something like this happens to you, and if someone wakes you up, or be it a person or experience or a journey, it was already in you. It's not like someone kind of shook you up and put something in you that wasn't there. It's always in you. And the situation, the experiences, the people would wake up with you what's already there. And you have to understand it, that you are full, you are complete, and whatever happens to you was supposed to happen to you to wake this up, to wake another layer up. So be grateful for that. And obviously, like birth, any birth comes with pain, lots of pain and fear, and the kind of sense of, I don't want to go through this. I am comfortable where I am, right? But this is the nature of life. Like, we have to go through those painful moments, those awakening, to come on the other side. And I don't want to go through any more painful moments, probably the same as you. And saying this story of how it happens, how it happened, and obviously it was many, well, it's like 7 years ago. um, I I wouldn't want to go back there ever, but I recognized that this was necessary. And back then I still had energy, or more energy, to go through this, and I didn't kind of think about my every step. I didn't plan it. I just had faith that everything happens for a reason, and everything always works out for me. That's basically my mantra. Everything happens for a reason. Everything always works out for me. So I leave this with you like that. Hopefully, it can become your mantra as well. It's a very good mantra, and very good to have this faith. I speak to you soon. Bye bye.